Hey guys, this is Ashton Bingham again with Muse Themes. Today I'm super excited to share another edition of our Connect series of widgets called Reviews Connect. This is a really cool widget for implementing reviews on your site, and in classic Connect widget fashion, it's manageable completely remotely from Muse using Google Spreadsheets. Now, this can be implemented on sites for a variety of uses, including, but certainly not limited to, web design services, restaurants, product reviews, e-commerce, and the list literally goes on and on. As you can see from our live demo here, there's a variety of different layouts to pick from. We have it laid out as a list here, but further down we have it styled like an image carousel, and then even further down we have a grid layout. So it's very flexible, and of course fully responsive, as you can see when I scale the browser down. So we're really excited about this addition to the series, and we think members are going to find this to be really unique and useful. So I'm going to jump into Muse and show you how to set this thing up from scratch. Taking a quick look inside my Finder window, when you download the widget from our website and you expand the zip file, inside you'll see, of course, the mulib file, as well as a folder with CSV files inside, which we'll cover in a moment. So all I have to do is double-click on the mulib, and the widget gets imported into my Muse library automatically. So we'll go ahead and click the drop-down arrow, revealing just one component, and we can drag that out onto our page. And if you've used any of our Connect widgets before, this large canvas space will look somewhat familiar to you. Of course, the widget isn't going to populate the content until we actually preview it in a browser, but this dark space here represents the space that the widget will take up on your page. So I'll just go ahead and make sure that it's centered. Now if I pop open the Settings flyout panel, we can see that right off the bat, our default content source is Google Sheets, and we already have the default spreadsheet keys entered. So without doing anything, I can already preview this page in the browser and see this widget functioning. We get a nice preloader there, and there we go. We already have a functioning list of reviews. So let's jump back into the Settings panel in Muse and take a closer look at how we customize this thing. Now our first option is the reviews layout, which is pretty straightforward. You have 3 different ones to choose from, as you saw in the live demo. We have list, carousel, and grid. Content source. Our default and always recommended method is Google Sheets. Now there are some instances where folks might want to use the local CSV file option, but if you stick with Google Sheets, everything remains much simpler, and any changes you make to the spreadsheets are updated on the site immediately. As opposed to the local CSV option, which would require you to upload new spreadsheets in Muse each time you make a change. And the Google Sheets option is especially great for those of you that have clients and you're looking for ways to give the client more back-end control of their own site. All you'd have to do is give them content key access to the spreadsheets, and then any changes that they make on their end will automatically be reflected on their site without ever having to go into Muse, which is always a plus, and pretty rare as far as Muse is concerned. I will note, though, if you do choose to use the local CSV file option, as I mentioned earlier, in your zip file that you receive upon widget download, there is a folder with the default spreadsheets already created and ready to go that you can edit in any basic spreadsheet editor. But let's get back to Google Sheets. Inside the Settings panel, there are 2 links that we include at the bottom of the panel that take you directly to the default spreadsheets. So let's start with the Content template. If I click this, I instantly get a browser tab with our default spreadsheet with all our reviews already set up. Now this default spreadsheet is set to view only. You have to make a copy of this spreadsheet before you can make any changes to it. So we'll go to File, and then Make a Copy, and we'll give it a name. We'll go with Ashton's Reviews. And there we go. That'll bounce us to a new tab with a brand new editable version of this spreadsheet ready to go. Now, as usual, we do have to publish this spreadsheet to the web. So we'll go to File again, and then click Publish to the Web. We want the entire document, and we want it in a CSV format. And then we'll click Publish, and click OK. And the last step, we do need to grab our new spreadsheet key, since we have made an entirely different spreadsheet from the default. And you can get that right out of the URL. So up here on the top, we want to select the long string of numbers and letters starting after this single letter and a slash. And we'll select everything all the way up until the next slash before the word edit. And once we do that, we'll hit Command-C or Control-C on the keyboard to copy. We'll switch back to our settings panel real quick in Muse, and we're going to paste that spreadsheet key into the content field. Perfect. So now I'm going to do a fresh browser preview from Muse so that we can start playing around with some of the spreadsheet content. Awesome. Now let's dive into our spreadsheet. Now it's all pretty straightforward if you compare the different content sections here to the actual live preview. You have this first column here that's for the reviewer's name. Next is for our image source. And with previous Connect widgets, this requires a direct link to an image file that's hosted somewhere on the web. Now this isn't just any regular URL, it has to be a direct link to a file. And in these, for example, you can see that they end with a .png, but that could also be a .jpeg, etc. And there are several different methods of actually doing this, and Steve made a really awesome video specifically dedicated to this topic. If you go to our Gallery Connect widget page and open the video playlist, it'll be the second video of that playlist. Next is the reviewer's location, and then the stars rating from 1 to 5. Then we have the date, the title, and lastly the review itself. So let's go ahead and make some changes. Let's take our second reviewer here, Fred Cliff. If we reference the live preview once again, we can see Fred is the second one here as well. But let's say we needed to swap Fred out. Let's say Steve Harris is reviewing my tutorial video and he doesn't like it so much. So we're going to change the name here to Steve Harris. And I'm not sure how he'll like Fred's image, but we're going to go ahead and leave that the same for now. And for location, right now he's probably somewhere in Canada, I'm sure. And rating, he's going to give me a measly 1-star rating for this one, unfortunately. And we'll put our widget release date of June 21st, 2017. We'll give it a title. And lastly, an actual review. Great. And literally, as soon as I hit enter and lock that in, the damage is already done. I can go back to our browser preview. I can refresh the page. And there we go. All of our changes have already been made to our website. We left our photo alone, but we can see our 1-star review, our changed title, name, location, date, and review text. And it's that simple. Now really quick, I want to go over to the other spreadsheet implemented here, which is our presets spreadsheet. So back in the panel, we can click this second link here on the bottom, and we get our default spreadsheet for our presets. Now same as before, we do need to make a copy of this and publish it to the web. And remember, you only have to do this once per spreadsheet. But we'll go to File and make a copy. And we'll name it Ashton's Presets. And there we go. Now we can go to File and Publish to the web. We want it as a CSV. And we'll click Publish. And then lastly, we simply grab the spreadsheet key from the URL. We copy it. And back in the Settings panel, we'll paste it in the Presets field. Perfect. So now I'm going to do a fresh browser preview since we did change one of the spreadsheet keys. And that's it. We can now play with some of the presets. Now there are 82 different presets here, so obviously lots of room to play. Now there's way too much here for me to cover in this one tutorial video, but just keep in mind that this first column is the description of the feature. So this first option here says Enable Star. So this is setting whether or not you want the star rating feature visible. The last column is your instruction on what to type. So for this one, it's saying you type 1 to enable it or 0 to disable it. And then the middle column is where you do the actual typing. So right now you can see that it's enabled, but we could simply change this to 0. Go back to our preview. Right now we see the stars, but if I give the page a refresh, we can see the stars completely disappear from each individual review. Now, the really awesome thing about presets spreadsheets is that it allows us to offer way more customization options than we ever could in any other regular widget settings panel. Plus, most of the settings are included on the spreadsheet, so it keeps your Muse setup quick and your flyout panels clean and simple, which is always a good thing. And then also, we at MuseThemes can always add more settings options much quicker and easier than we can by doing a complete settings panel update within Muse, so it's pretty awesome. Now, of course, there are going to be some options that we just have to include inside the settings panel due to the frameworks of the widgets, but all in all, these panels are quite simple compared to how powerful these widgets are. So on that note, I'll close out by just covering a few of the settings that are featured inside the panel itself. First is the preloader and local storage settings. Preloader is pretty straightforward. As you saw in the live demo, it's that motion graphic that occurs while the spreadsheet is loading. Inside here, you can select from numerous types and colors. And the local storage and custom refresh interval settings allow you to control how the review data is cached by the site visitor's computer, which we've also featured on some of our other Connect widgets. Now this last one here is a new one. It's called the Rating Snippet, which is really pretty cool. This section gives control over all of the items that Google uses to create reviews that it places in search results. So let's hop over to Google really quick. If you do a Google search for a mainstream movie, like Wonder Woman, for example, and we get a bunch of results, but Google will populate reviews and ratings in its search results before you even click to the page. So as you can see here, we have a couple. We have a review from IMDb, one from Rotten Tomatoes. So when you're filling out this rating snippet section in the panel, you're giving Google everything that it looks for when it constructs those reviews. Now, of course, this doesn't guarantee any particular placement on a Google search, as there's way too many other factors involved there, but it does at least accomplish what Google is looking for. So that's it, guys. That's our Reviews Connect widget. Please have fun with this one and enjoy customizing it, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as always, do not hesitate to give us a shout. Thanks for watching.